The person who runs every covert operation for the most powerful country on Earth earns less than a second-year corporate lawyer. This is how you get that job, and what it costs you. On your first day at the CIA, they walk you to a wall. White marble, just inside the main entrance at Langley. 140 stars carved into the stone. Each one is an officer who died in the line of duty. Below the stars is a book with 108 names. The other 32 entries are just a gold star and a blank space, still classified, even in death. You raise your right hand in front of those stars and take the oath. Not in an auditorium, not in a conference room, in front of a wall of dead colleagues. That's how the agency says welcome. Level 1, the Analyst. Your first 2 years are spent in a cubicle at Langley, reading classified cables from every continent on Earth, satellite imagery, intercepted communications, open source analysis. Your job is to take that flood of noise and turn it into something a senior officer can read in 3 minutes and use to make a decision that might reshape a country. You write drafts of the president's daily brief, the most classified intelligence document in the world, delivered to the president every morning. If your analysis is wrong, people die. If it's right, nobody knows your name. Your phone goes into a signal-blocking pouch before you enter the building. 9 hours, no contact with the outside world. You can't tell anyone what you read. Your girlfriend thinks you work for the State Department. At dinner with friends, you say government research, and they change the subject. You want them to change the subject. But inside that cubicle, you know things that won't make the news for months. You know which governments are cracking apart. Last week you flagged a name in a cable. A man in a country you've never visited, planning something that could destabilize an entire region. Your supervisor forwarded your paragraph upstairs with one word: concur. In this building, that's a standing ovation. Level 2, the Case Officer. You're stationed in a foreign capital under diplomatic cover. Your title says Political Affairs Officer. Your actual job is to convince people to betray their country. You attend receptions and catalog everyone in the room. That attaché on his 4th drink. That bureaucrat bitter about being passed over. That scientist whose emails your signals team already flagged. Each one is a thread. You pull slowly. A lunch here, a coffee there. You listen more than you talk. You let silence do the work. The most dangerous moment of your career happens on a Tuesday. You're sitting across from a foreign military officer you've been developing for 4 months. You ask him to commit treason. He goes silent, stands up, straightens his jacket, says he needs to think about it, and walks out. You sit there with a heart rate you can hear in your ears. If he reports this meeting, your cover is blown, and every asset connected to your station is at risk. 3 days of silence. On the 4th day, he calls. He says yes. In 2025, the CIA posted recruitment videos on YouTube in Mandarin, targeting Chinese government officials. Those videos hit 120 million views. The agency is recruiting on the same platform you're watching this on right now. But you haven't seen the part of the CIA that doesn't officially exist. Level 3, Paramilitary Ops. You volunteered for the Special Activities Center, the CIA's paramilitary arm. You deploy to places the United States cannot officially be present. No embassy, no diplomatic immunity, no cover story beyond local clothes and enough of the language to survive a checkpoint. Your team is 4 to 6 people. You carry your own comms, your own medical kit, your own weapons. If you're captured, the government will deny you exist. That's not rhetoric. It's a legal clause written into your operational authorization. One night your convoy takes fire on a mountain road. You pull the wounded operator out under fire in 4 minutes. You drive 6 hours through the dark to an unmarked airstrip where a plane with no tail number is waiting. The next morning you're back in the field. Your family doesn't know what happened. Nobody does. Your children get one phone call a month through a secure relay. They hear your voice through static and ask when you're coming home. You say soon. You've been saying soon for 2 years. Level 4, Station Chief. You run an entire CIA station in a foreign country. Every officer, analyst, and support staffer reports to you. There are programs running inside your station that the US ambassador doesn't know about and isn't cleared to know. You manage a liaison with the host country's intelligence service. You sit across the table from a man who controls his country's secret police, call him partner, and smile, while your technical team monitors his personal communications from a room 3 floors above you. Your home is swept for listening devices every 72 hours. Encrypted cables arrive at 3 a.m. One wakes you tonight. A case officer has been flagged by host country counterintelligence. You have hours, not days, to decide. Pull the officer out and burn every connected asset, or hold steady and hope the surveillance is routine. You hold. 3 days pass. The surveillance stops. Your network survives. If you'd been wrong, 6 people who trusted you with their lives would be dead or in a foreign prison right now. You send a 2-word cable to Langley. All clear. You haven't slept a full night in 14 months. And then you reach the level where the president turns to you in a room full of generals and asks a question only you can answer. Level 5, Division Chief. You oversee all CIA operations across an entire region of the world. Hundreds of officers, thousands of active operations. You brief members of Congress in closed sessions where phones are collected at the door and notes don't leave the room. You visit the memorial wall more often now. You know 9 of those stars by name. The youngest was 25, 2 years behind you in training. You remember the last conversation you had with her, something about the cafeteria, something completely forgettable. You've replayed it hundreds of times. When you started, the wall had 107 stars. Now it has 140. 33 new stars over the course of your career. You do the math sometimes. You wish you didn't. One of those stars was added because of an operation you approved. You signed the cable. You sent the team. The team came back with 1 fewer member. You wrote the letter to the family. You stood at the ceremony. You went home and sat in the dark until your wife found you, and didn't ask questions, because she learned a long time ago not to. Level 6, Director of Operations. Every covert operation conducted by the CIA worldwide falls under your authority. You are the most senior clandestine officer in the United States government. You attend the president's daily brief. You sit in the situation room when a crisis breaks. The room is always smaller than people imagine. No dramatic lighting, just a table, a screen, and the most powerful people in the country looking at you. The president asks what options exist that no one can ever know about. The Secretary of Defense, the National Security Advisor, the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, they're all waiting for you to speak. You notice your coffee has gone cold. You don't remember the last time you blinked. You answer. The president nods. The meeting moves on. What you just authorized will not. You earn $221,000 a year. The person running covert operations for the most powerful country on Earth makes less than a second-year associate at a Manhattan law firm. You've authorized operations that saved thousands of lives. You've authorized operations that ended them. You carry both in the same silence. Every cable on your desk could send someone into the field who doesn't come home. You read every word before you sign. You read the name. You read the risk assessment. You think about the stars on the wall. And then you sign. Level 7, the cost. This is what nobody tells you when you raise your hand in front of that wall. Your first marriage ended in year 7. She didn't leave because you were gone. She left because you came back and couldn't explain why you woke up staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m. Your children grew up with a version of you that was edited for their clearance level. Your son asked you once, when he was 14, whether you'd ever hurt anyone. You said nothing. He took the silence as an answer. And the silence protects more than just you. John Kiriakou was a CIA case officer for 14 years, led the team that captured one of Al-Qaeda's most senior operatives. When he learned the agency was waterboarding detainees, and in at least one case, pureeing a man's lunch tray of hummus, pasta, nuts, and raisins, and infusing it rectally as a means of behavioral control, he went on national television and said it out loud. He became the first U.S. government official to confirm the CIA's torture program. He was also the only person connected to that program who went to prison. Not the people who did the waterboarding, not the people who authorized it. The man who told the public it was happening. 30 months in a federal prison. That is the cost of speaking. And for the ones who stay silent, you retire. A small ceremony at Langley. A medal in a box you're not allowed to show anyone. You go home to a quiet house. And the only people who understand what you lived through are people you met inside classified spaces and may never be permitted to contact again. Nobody trains you for that. Level 8. The next one. But the agency doesn't end with you. It has never ended with anyone. It has been running since 1947. It survived the Bay of Pigs, survived the Church Committee, survived moles inside its own walls who sold the names of assets to the enemy, survived the worst single-day attack in its history. 7 stars carved into marble, all from the same afternoon. Someone always steps up. Someone always says yes. And somewhere right now, maybe in Ann Arbor, maybe in Atlanta, maybe in a library at 1 a.m., there's a graduate student scrolling through government job boards. They find a posting. Foreign Affairs Research Analyst. The description is vague. The salary is unremarkable. But something about the wording feels different. They apply. 3 months of silence. Then a phone call. This is the Central Intelligence Agency, and it's still recruiting.